I love to pray out loud and have out loud conversations with God. Even though I don't necessarily hear an actual voice talking back to me, I feel like I flesh out my ideas better. And then I also love to pray. I have a secret little spot that I go to at my house that's outside where I can just kind of feel Him moving around me in nature and feel in His presence. And then I like to just talk to Him and hang out.
There's a couple different times that I pray. My family always does it at family dinner, especially when my little sister makes the request to take a prayer, is how she says it. I also sometimes find myself praying when I'm on driving around and there's just a lot on my mind. And then I also keep a prayer journal where I actually write down my prayers, and it just helps me clear my mind and just do it that way.
I usually pray at night times, usually because I get really stressed at nighttime sometimes whenever I am facing a lot of homework or just things with work and stuff like that. So I just calm myself down, find a nice calm place, and I just pray.
I like to pray at night. It's a lot more peaceful and quiet, and it makes me feel a lot more relaxed, and I feel like I can take as much time as I need with God without feeling rushed or feeling like I need to go somewhere or do something at that time.
How do I pray? I pray in my car a lot, because it's a lot of the time the only space that I get to myself. I pray a lot on my patio. I pray in lots of random moments, just when I feel the presence of God in my life, and I think that works for me. I love praying in nature and just being surrounded by God's beauty, but that's just kind of how I pray.
I pray because it helps me come to a realization sometimes of maybe something I'm praying for isn't really as important as I think it is, and sometimes it helps me just to realize that God knows what I need and the things I'm praying for are just very unnecessary.
So there's a couple different reasons why it's important for me to pray personally, but one big thing is that it's just a very healing process for me. I'm able to get what's on my mind just out in the open and kind of have a dialogue with God. And also, once I pray, I feel like it takes a burden off of myself and just kind of leaves it up to whatever He decides is good for me to happen. And yeah.
I pray because a lot of times I find myself unsure of what to do next or in weird situations, and talking with God really helps give me answers and clarity to what's going on in my life. And then also it's really good, I feel like, just to find peace in my everyday by talking with the ultimate Prince of Peace.
I think of it as a stress reliever, and it's also someone to talk to. It's like a 24/7 therapist that I don't have to pay for. So it's kind of like, I can just say whatever I want to say without any repercussions, and God won't judge me. He will listen, and sometimes, he'll listen and may not always act on it, but it's okay as long as He's listening. It's just good to have someone to talk to.
I pray because it's a response to what God has done in my life, what I've experienced through Him, and then what I hope to experience. It's a conversation that I can have with God to kind of ease whatever stresses I have going on, or lift up something that's a great success or something like that.
Usually when I think in my mind, it's kind of God always has a plan for me, even if He doesn't answer my prayers. That's not always what is God's plan for me. It may be what I want at that time, but it may not be what God needs for me to do in that current situation.
I'd love to say that I am always super graceful about it and that I just accept and am very patient about it, but honestly I react more toddler-like, and I get super annoyed and question why won't she talk to me and why don't I know the answer? And I get really impatient, but I think it's important to remind myself and surround myself with people that remind me that I don't control things, God does, and that I just need to be patient and wait on Him and trust that it'll all work out.
Sometimes when God doesn't give me what I think I want or something that I've been praying for, my response is to immediately remember that God knows what's best for me and He knows what I need and exactly when I need it. And that also can help me come to a peaceful realization that God does know best and that what I'm praying for just might not be what I need.
It really depends on the moment, but I wish I could say that I always had confidence in what God was going to do, even when I don't get what I want. But I am kind of a doubting Thomas, and I am quick to be cynical. And so my first gut response is to just like say screw it and just kind of doubt God in this instance of like not getting what I want, because what I want to be in control. But I know that in the end, God wants us to relinquish our control to Him. But sometimes that's just really hard.
Sometimes it's hard, especially when it's something big and important that you're praying for and it doesn't work out, just because it's hard to see when you're in that situation the end goal. But God always has your best interest at mind and He knows what's good for you. And also hindsight is 20/20, and just being able to think when I don't hear an answer to the prayer that like I wanted, that He's always been with me before and that He's never left me, and just always keeping that in mind.